Good evening from Joliet, Illinois, and Joliet Memorial Stadium, the home of the University of St. Francis Fighting Saints, who today take on St. Xavier University in the opening round of the CCAC Women's Soccer Tournament. Terry Bonadonna with you for the call of today's matchup. The Fighting Saints come in as the 4 seed in this week's tournament. St. Xavier is the 5 seed, then the visiting side. In today's game, second matchup between these two schools in the same location within the last month. And the Saints today are hoping for the same result as last time around. They beat the Cougars 2-1 when they met up in early October here at Joliet Memorial Stadium. Today, though, a lot more on the line. The winner moves on to the conference tournament semifinals to be played next week. First things first, you got to get through the quarterfinals. And the Saints come into today with 21 points in conference play. They finished the season with an overall record of 6-6-5. They were 6-2-3 against CCAC opponents. St. Xavier, 18 points overall in conference play this year. They were 5-3-3 in the CCAC. They are 7-3-5 overall as we get today's game started. We are underway with the Fighting Saints taking the opening kick. The Saints in the gold jerseys today with white numbers going from left to right in the first half of today's matchup. They'll be shooting into the south goal. St. Xavier is in black with very difficult to read red numbers going from right to left and shooting into the north goal to get things started, and also taking goal kicks towards the north as well. They get the first goal kick here. St. Francis tries to put the pressure on, halted by the Cougars, and the Fighting Saints take it back to the defensive side. The starters for the Saints today include Michelle Pelayo, Zoe Vallant, Isabel Diaz, Andrea Aguirre, Kelly Flores, Adamari Carrera, Litzy Mendez, Claudia Hernandez, and Alexis Mariquin. The goalkeeper is the sophomore Crystal Rodriguez. Here's a run for the Fighting Saints quickly towards the back line, a long run for Aguirre, and she can't reach it. She was offsides anyway, so even if she had reached it, it would have been a free kick for St. Xavier, as it is. Crystal Rodriguez, starting in net for the Fighting Saints, has been one of the top goalkeepers in the CCAC this year. 16 games played. She's allowed 20 goals total, 1.29 per contest. She's made 56 saves and has a .737 save percentage. She's got 4 shutouts this season. Most recently on October 14th against Roosevelt, a 1-0 win right here. First home match today for the Fighting Saints in a couple of weeks. Their last time out here was on October 21st. That was a win against Viterbo. Their final scheduled game of the regular season against Calumet St. Joe was not played. So this is their first match in almost 2 full weeks. That's off the flag down in the corner, and it was out on St. Xavier. So that means the Fighting Saints march their way downfield, and they get set up for the first corner kick of the game. True, we're just a couple of minutes into the action, but the entirety of today's game has been played on this side of the field. So a good start for the Fighting Saints, who have Kelly Flores in position for the corner kick. Sent in front of the net, headed away by St. Xavier. Still loose in the penalty box, and a foul is called against St. Francis. So a free kick here for St. Xavier. They've been able to clear it on free kicks a number of times early in the game. This is their third one. One of those was a goal kick, but throughout the first 3 minutes today, the Saints have continuously knocked at the door, and St. Xavier's been able to send it away. And as has been the case all throughout this game so far, St. Francis is in possession. Fighting Saints push it down the middle of the field, and the Cougars are able to clear it. St. Xavier, I don't believe, has had even a single touch on the attacking half of the field. They don't right here either, as St. Francis pushes down the far sideline and now makes a run towards the middle of the field. Stretched out wide to the left. And the Fighting Saints are offsides again. Second time already today that that has been the case. Just over 41 minutes to play, so nearly 4 minutes into the game. No score, no shots on goal. No shots yet, but St. Francis has been close a number of times. And again, they're in possession following a St. Xavier free kick. Cougars have been able to push it across midfield a handful of times, but they have never controlled it across midfield. Again, I don't think they've had a single touch on the other side of that 50-yard line on the football demarcations. Again, they get it across, and St. Francis takes it on defense. Fighting Saints down the middle, taken away by the Cougars. And here's Louisa Schreiber. She does take it across midfield, and finally the Cougars do get across a touch on plus side, but Schreiber immediately gives it up. Louisa Schreiber, the leading goal scorer this year for St. Xavier. She's joined in the starting lineup today by Eileen Gallardo. Alex Johnitis. Here come the Fighting Saints towards the back line, knocked away and out of bounds. We'll get a goal kick here. Veronica Davila, Jacqueline Gonzalez, Haley Henry, Louisa Schreiber, Naida Ocampo, Hope Lewis, Esmeralda Diaz, and Isabel Guzman make up the St. Xavier starting lineup today. Their goalkeeper is just a freshman. Natalie Dybus from LaGrange, Illinois, has been awfully good. In 12 games played this season, she's only allowed 10 goals, has made 41 saves, an .804 save percentage, an average of 0.89 per game. And she has 4 shutouts this season, just like her opponent, Crystal Rodriguez for St. Francis. They've both got shutouts going so far today, just 5.5 minutes into the contest. The goals figured to be at a premium between two of the best defensive teams in the conference. Contact at midfield, and a foul is called on St. Xavier. Veronica Davila whistled for that one, and the Fighting Saints get their first free kick of the game. This from right at midfield, close to the near sideline. It was 2-1 the last time these teams met up, so there were some goals scored. Pushed down into the box. St. Francis trying to set something up, going far to the outside, and knocked away by St. Xavier in the box. Saints try to chase it down, but the Cougars are able to clear out to midfield. Game is being dominated by St. Francis at the midfield so far today, but a foul called here on the Fighting Saints gives another free kick to the Cougars. It's been a while since St. Xavier has lost, not since October 11th. So they really had to fight their way into the conference tournament as the free kick bounces a couple of times right into the hands of the goalkeeper. Crystal Rodriguez makes herself involved for the first time. No save, but it was her first touch of the game. Mendez at midfield, passes off to her left. Mariquin tries to push it ahead, but it's taken away by the Cougars. Here comes St. Xavier over on the far side. Pass deflected. One again by St. Xavier down towards the corner, and St. Francis is able to intercept once more. A pass in the middle of the field, a dangerous pass, knocked loose by the Cougars, and now it's right in front of the net. Rodriguez steps up. The shot is deflected. A chance for Alex Johnitis on a ball that got away from St. Francis, but the Cougars are not able to come up with the goal. They still have the ball in their possession, still on the attack, but St. Francis' defense able to get back in a position by now. Knocked out of bounds, another throw in coming up for the Cougars. Right down the sideline, it's Davila, forced off the ball. Saints take it away. Davila tracks it down again, right along that yellow line. Back to midfield, Gallardo passes to her right. Cougars' longest sustained attack of the game, and it ends as soon as I mention it. St. Francis, though, gives it right back off the first touch. Here's Davila again, and she's called for the handball. Free kick for St. Francis. 9 minutes in, no score. Fighting Saints, the 4 seed in the conference tournament. This is as high as they've been in a long time. They have not hosted a conference tournament game in years. But a very strong finish to this season has put them 1 spot ahead of St. Xavier in the conference standings. Foul called on the Cougars. These are 2 of the hottest teams in the conference. Mentioned St. Xavier hasn't lost since October 11th. St. Francis has lost only once since September 16th. And that one loss over the last nearly 2 months came to St. Ambrose at St. Ambrose. And they've been tops in the conference all season. The number 1 seed will likely face the winner of this game as long as they can take care of business. Knocked out of bounds off of the Saints. Off the Cougars, sorry. They rolled it down towards the goal, but it will be a corner kick. Second one of the game for St. Francis. Flores to Mendez, and it pops over the net and out of bounds. Deflected out by St. Xavier. So Mendez gets a shot off following the corner kick, but well over the goal, and they'll try it again. Flores in position once more. There's a header back towards the sideline and out of bounds. So a quick header knocked away by St. Xavier. Saints will try this thing again. This time, though, not a corner kick. It's a throw-in. It forces their defenders back a little bit. St. Xavier tries to counter. Rolling it along the sideline. It's intercepted by Mia Okana. Okana crosses, and it never reaches its target. There's a whistle, and we're going the other way with the free kick. St. Ambrose Roosevelt is the 1 seed versus the 8 seed. Being played right now out in Iowa. And if the 1 seed does win that game, then the winner of this will head out to Iowa for the next round. If not, then Roosevelt will be the opponent, and the winner of this would host Roosevelt. We'll get the score update from around the CCAC a little bit later during today's contest. 4 quarterfinal matches all being played today. The semifinals and the finals will be next week. St. Xavier in possession on the defensive end. Saints trying to put some pressure on them, so the Cougars have to work quickly across midfield. Tapped towards the sideline and out of bounds. Schreiber not able to keep it alive off the foot of Johnitis. Throw in for the Fighting Saints. Schreiber controls it off her chest. Her cross is intercepted. Battle for the ball won by the defense of St. Francis. A few quick passes ahead, taken away by the Cougars. Long run, Johnitis. Can't get there. It's out of bounds off the pass from Louisa Schreiber. Things have evened out quite a bit here over the last few minutes. First 5 or 6 minutes or so were dominated by St. Francis. Didn't get any clean shots off, but they dominated possession time. They dominated positioning on the field. And St. Xavier has been able to level that out over the last 5 or 6 minutes. Going back and forth from the midfield here. Saints looking for the tackle. They are able to take the ball away. Flores, leading goal scorer this year for St. Francis, works it ahead. Passed to the near sideline. Michelle Pelayo was not able to go anywhere with it. Taken back by the St. Francis defense. And punched out of bounds. It was an exciting turnaround for St. Francis this year. after struggling the last few seasons, being able to find their way back to the conference tournament and to do so at home. It's a nice feather in their cap. Now they're trying to win in the conference tournament. And facing an opponent that is on a 5-match unbeaten streak. St. Xavier had a 3-game winning streak snapped on the 25th of October. Their last 2 games of the season ended in ties. So they won 3 in a row and then tied 2 in a row. There will not be any tie anymore. Ties were just added to college soccer a couple of years ago. At least regulation ties, but we're back into overtime now in the conference tournament. So no more overtimes during the regular season, but in postseason play, if this one is even at the end, they will play on. You've got to find a winner. Somebody has to play in the next round. Scooped up on a couple of hops there by Crystal Rodriguez. Wide of the net. Rodriguez rolls it ahead to her defense and starts the St. Francis run here. 15 minutes in. No score so far. At midfield, Saints not able to control it initially, but Flores does take over. Pushed deep down the field and a little bit too far out in front of Pelayo. Throw in for St. Xavier on the defensive end of the field. Able to get it out of harm's way, but St. Francis takes over defensively. There is one final from around the CCAC today. Viterbo defeated Trinity Christian. That one did end in a tie in regulation. They ended up going to penalty kicks after it remained tied after overtime. And Trinity ended up falling, the 2 seed in the conference tournament. That headed into the box, stepping up and scooping it up. Divas comes up with the stop. Biggest threat of the game for St. Francis. They weren't able to get a shot out of it, but they did push it into the box, and they forced Divas to get involved, something that she really hasn't been so far. One of the top goalkeepers in the conference. Hasn't been asked to make any saves yet. But that would have been trouble if she hadn't been around. Olivet was the 3rd seed in the conference tournament, and they defeated the 6th-seeded Judson today. So Olivet Nazarene became the 2nd team to advance to the semifinals with their 2-0 victory. Saints try to make another run right down the middle of the field. Tapped loose and cleared by St. Xavier. So it'll be Viterbo against Olivet in Bourbonnais, round 2. And the winner of this will take on the winner of Roosevelt against St. Ambrose, the 8th seed, being hosted by the 1. And that's going on right now. Like this game, they're scoreless. Started right at the same time. So they're right around the same juncture of the game. Battle for possession won by St. Francis. Tipped into the middle of the field and passed back. Here's Flores. Alexis Mariquin pushes it ahead, and there's nobody there. Nobody in the gold, so it ends up rolling all the way out of bounds. Goal kick coming up for St. Xavier. No score with 27 minutes to play in the first half. After St. Xavier survived the initial onslaught from St. Francis, they've evened things out, and neither team has appeared to have much of an advantage throughout most of this first half. Both sides kind of feeling each other out so far. Second matchup between these two schools in the last month. Second time that St. Xavier has made the trip here to Joliet. Saints won the first one 2-1. They got goals from Zoe Vallant and Kelly Flores, who closed out the season with a flurry of scoring over the last few weeks. Leads the team with 6 goals on the season. That's Flores looking for a pass that time, but nobody on the receiving end of it. Knocked into the air by the Cougars. Loose over on the far side. Mariquin tries to cross, making a cut down the middle of the field. Not able to reach it on time. She was trying to connect with Mia Okana. Instead, the Fighting Saints lost the ball out of bounds. They throw in from the far side of the field. Mariquin throws it in, headed towards the sideline, right back out of bounds. St. Xavier gets to throw this time. Saints continue their march. Little bit by little bit, they make their way downfield. Now back into the middle. Rolled back to Flores. Flores sets things up, taps it ahead into the box, deflected, and off the foot of Okana. To the sideline, kept alive by Pelayo. Pelayo tries to make a move around Davila. Good defense from Davila. Finally, Pelayo tries to turn and cross it, but Davila deflects it right back off of Michelle Pelayo and out of bounds. So after the Saints kept working their way downfield, finally St. Xavier is able to come up with the stop. Now we'll see if they can reverse field position here. Nope, the Saints take it away. There's a cross and there's a shot that sails high over the net and out of bounds. Andrea Aguirre took the shot. Wasn't in great position to do so, but probably starting to get a little bit frustrated by the number of times that St. Francis has been in position and hasn't been able to get a shot. So that time she turned and took it quickly, but nowhere near the target. So rare sight so far in this match, a shot. Talked about the numbers on both goalkeepers and how good they've been this season as Mia Okana makes her way through a couple of defenders. She takes a shot, and it's wide to the right and out of bounds. And it's true that both goalkeepers have been good this year, but today we're seeing a big part of why. It's the defenses. They've certainly both done their jobs today, preventing much of anything. We've seen a grand total so far of 4 shots. Only one of them on goal, and that was a very soft shot on goal from St. Xavier a little bit earlier. Easy play for Crystal Rodriguez to make. St. Francis in possession, but not anymore. Knocked free by St. Xavier. Cougars try to make a run. Haley Henry has it knocked away from her, but the Cougars are able to find Louisa Schreiber. Schreiber takes it towards the sideline, looking for help over the middle. Her pass is intercepted, knocked away. Sent back to Isabel Guzman. The sophomore Guzman pushes downfield again for St. Xavier on a bounce into the box, grabbed by Crystal Rodriguez. We're at the halfway point of the first stanza here. Still no score. Not many scoring threats. We've seen a grand total of 1 shot on goal between the two schools. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, it was not a particularly impressive shot on goal. Saints have been able to get a couple of shots off in the last few minutes, something they really hadn't been able to do all game. But both of the shots they've taken recently were way off the mark. Here come the Cougars. That's Henry. Rolling it to Davila. Davila tried to push it ahead, but it's deflected out of bounds. Guzman comes up from the defensive line to throw it in. Davila crosses. I think she may have been trying to find Hope Lewis over the middle, but nobody else was there, so the Saints start a quick counter strike all the way down into the far corner. Trying to turn it towards the middle of the field, knocked away by St. Xavier. Tossed in along the back line. And a foul is called, I believe, on Alex Janitis here. An illegal tackle down in the corner. They were outside of that yellow box. So it's not a penalty kick. It's also not a corner kick, but it'll play like one. From down in the corner, St. Francis gets the free kick. Right along the back line, in between the penalty box and the sideline. So free kick coming up. Sails towards the back post, headed in the direction of the net. Knocked loose by St. Xavier, but still free in the box. And now finally cleared by the Cougars. That initial clearance left more questions than answers for the Cougars defense. But they're able to make up for it on their second try. Here comes Janitis. Janitis working one-on-one with Carrera. Gets around her. Her cross is intercepted and cleared. Strong defense from Flores. Starts the offense for St. Francis. Aguirre's offsides. It was essentially a 2-on-2 there. O'Connor maybe waited a tick too long to make the pass. Or Aguirre waited a bit too long, or left a little bit too soon, I should say. Either way, it is offsides. St. Francis's chance is wasted. They'll try to create another one here. Mia O'Connor once again leads the charge. Trailed by Lewis, O'Connor works her way towards the outside. Turns it back to the middle. Passes to Pelayo. And that's intercepted by St. Xavier. They're able to clear it. Few runs from the Fighting Saints have been stopped short. The defensive struggle, we're still relatively early in this match. But with each passing second, the score gets more and more important as Zoe Vallant knocks it away. I guess that's always true. You have less time to score the longer you go, but it's really got the feeling of a one-goal game today. Whoever scores first might be all they need. That could change over more than an hour still to play in this game, but that's the way it's played out so far. That shots are really coming at a premium. So it's always important to score first, but maybe a little bit more so today, especially with as much on the line as is. The winner of this has their season continue next week. The loser does not. Zoe Vallant dribbles towards midfield. Pushes ahead looking for Pelayo. Knocked away by St. Xavier. And controlled by the Cougars, who are able to send it across midfield, where St. Francis heads it ahead. A little back and forth there, and finally St. Francis decides to slow things down, passing it back to their goalkeeper and letting Crystal Rodriguez start the charge the other direction. Flores down the field looking for Pelayo. Long run. Taken away and out of bounds by Isabel Guzman. "17 minutes to play. We're in the first half in the CCAC quarterfinal. Out of bounds on St. Francis that time. So St. Xavier gets to throw it in. There's St. Xavier's defense stepping up, but only for so long, as it is once again sent out of bounds. St. Francis gets to take possession again. Pelayo's inbounds pass is deflected by Hope Lewis off of Alex Janitis. And Janitis of St. Xavier can't keep it in. Saints try to use their heads to put themselves in shooting position. The third consecutive header, though, is intercepted. Good challenge from Mia Okana. Okana takes the ball away. Now the Saints have a chance. It's Pelayo making her way into the middle of the field. There's a pass to Mendez. Knocked loose. Coming in from the backside of the play. The shot misses high over the net. A shot from Isabel Diaz. Diaz, the freshman from Spain, got off to such a strong start this year, scoring 5 goals in just 11 games played. She has slowed down her offensive production of late. But it really came out of the gate screaming. 5 goals, 1 assist this season. 5 goals are tied for the second most on the team behind Kelly Flores' 6. Into the box, and it's grabbed by Natalie Dybas. First round of the CCAC tournament. The winner moves on to the semifinals to take on either St. Ambrose or Roosevelt. St. Ambrose is the 1 seed, so they will host the second round. If Roosevelt beats St. Ambrose, then the winner of this game would become the higher seed. It's not impossible. St. Ambrose hasn't gone down much this year, but we already saw the 2 seed eliminated today. So I won't say that the 8 seed winning can't be done. Nice work by Mia Okana, winning possession for the Saints. Down the field, far side. Long run for Mendez, but Mendez is able to track it down. And the defender takes it away. Pushed out of bounds. There's a cross from the Saints. 1 bounce in front of the net. It's grabbed by Dybas. Still hasn't been asked to make any saves. She's inserting herself a little bit before it gets to that point. Scooping up anything that comes near. Saints are trying to put one near her. She's not able to grab. That's offsides again. Oh, there's a shot that went in. It could just be that Dybas wasn't working at it because she knew offsides had already been called. Sometimes it feels good, though, as an offensive player, when you know how much your team is struggling offensively, just to see the ball go in the net, even if it doesn't count. With 13 minutes to play in the first half, Saints are trying to find positive feelings somewhere as they look to break this scoreless tie. Mendez approached from behind, kicks it ahead down the sideline. Out of bounds on the Saints, and that gives us a chance to get the substitutes in. Gina Paparelli and Citlali Chavez are coming in for St. Xavier. St. Francis has made 1 sub as well. They have brought Haley Bartlaga into the game and given Alexis Mariquin a chance to take a break. Pushed up down the sideline by St. Xavier. Saints initially looked like they were trying to keep it in, but decided it didn't ultimately matter. So they're throwing. It's been a while since the Cougars have been able to get any attack going. We'll see if that changes here. Not in the short term. So if Volant lets it go because Crystal Rodriguez is in position, ball slowly comes to a stop in his box. There's a clearance from Volant. well across midfield. And a two-person challenge, they're able to take the ball away. Here comes St. Xavier. Down to the corner and too far out in front. Nobody there in black. Goal kick coming up for the Fighting Saints. 11 minutes to play in the first half. Still, we have not seen very much action here. Saints, I'm sure, are ruining their missed chances early in the game. More good defense from St. Xavier than bad offense from St. Francis, but the Saints had possession of the ball pretty much the entire time during the early few minutes. It didn't end up holding that way, although if we were looking at total time of possession, I think St. Francis would still have a pretty distinct edge. St. Xavier's in possession right now, though. Schreiber passes back. Kept in bounds. Gallardo passes back. This is Chavez. Down the sideline, knocked away by St. Francis. St. Francis defense has been tough. St. Xavier still has only one shot so far today. Just one total shot, and they don't get another one there. Foul is called on the Cougars. So the Fighting Saints get a free kick, and they make sure that St. Xavier doesn't get their second shot of the game here. Saints do. Kelly Flores is set for the free kick. Skims the top of the head of her intended target, but nothing more. Here's Schreiber on the run. Schreiber slows down as the ball keeps kicking up speed. Crystal Rodriguez makes an easy stop, and a ball that was wide of the net. It was not originally intended to be a shot anyway. They were trying to find Schreiber on the pass. In the corner and out of bounds along the back line. It was last touched by St. Xavier. Anna Jakubiak checks in for the Fighting Saints. Litzy Flores as well. So Al Pilar, the fourth-year head coach of the Fighting Saints, is starting to make his moves right now. 3 subs in the game actually for both teams right now. St. Francis with Flores. Passes off to the left side. Through ball is cut short. Saints get it back, though. Not giving up possession easily today. They do give it up eventually there, but I promise it wasn't easy. That's hugging the sideline. It will not go out. In fact, it starts at the last second to curl back in. Back and forth. St. Francis in possession. Mendez turns it upfield. Big ball downfield for Mendez. She's able to hook up with Bartlaga. Haley Bartlaga in the corner. Needs help over the middle. Instead, she gets help from the ball being knocked out of bounds. Saints can't find that cross. Kicked out of bounds again. Another throw in for St. Francis. Now finally a shot from way outside and an easy save for Natalie Divas, who dives on top of it. I called it an easy save. She didn't make it one. She dove on that ball because she wanted to make sure that there were no rebounds, and she wanted to make sure that she didn't get an awkward hop on it either if she just waited back. Here's a run for St. Xavier into the box. The shot knocked away by Crystal Rodriguez. A quick counter strike from St. Xavier. After St. Francis came up empty offensively, Cougars went on a good run, and they freed up Alex Johnitis to take the shot. Far and away the best scoring chance for either team in the first half, but Crystal Rodriguez made a nice save. Johnitis remains off the scoreboard, and for the first time tonight, St. Xavier gets a corner kick. Kick comes in short, headed away by St. Francis, and cleared over on the far side. No numbers for St. Francis. They are able to get everybody back in position, though, after they halted that corner kick. Didn't have a chance to turn it into a strike of their own. High in the air towards the sideline. Bounces a couple of times. Jakubiak working on keeping it alive for the Fighting Saints, but she only succeeds in hitting it out of bounds. 5 minutes to play in the half. St. Xavier throwing from just across midfield. Cougars have turned up the heat in the last few minutes. Had their best chance at a goal a few moments ago. Crystal Rodriguez made a really nice save, her second save of the game. And the first time just watching this game that I felt like either team was going to score. And had it not been for Rodriguez's efforts, it would have been a goal for Johnitis. Intercepted by Hope Lewis. Passed ahead for Haley Henry. Nice sliding stop by Valant out of bounds. She prevents Louisa Schreiber from getting anything developed. Guzman passes into the middle, deflected back. Zoe Valant heads it. Kelly Flores tried to head it straight down, give herself a chance to turn upfield. She instead had the ball stolen. It's Citlali Chavez against three defenders, kicks it off of one of them out of bounds. Take your pick. Three players huddled around her. And she did all that she could do. Set up a throw-in. Guzman steps up from the defense to toss it in. It's too far out in front of the intended target. Out of bounds. Litzy Flores tosses it in, gets it right back. Flores intercepted this time. Veronica Davila keeps it in bounds, but it's taken away. Good move, Kelly Flores. Flores frees herself up with some space. Looking for the cross, knocked away. Very good defense from St. Xavier. Saints are trying to create another chance. Flores, some nifty ball work. Works around a few people. Into the box, and offsides is called. Saints have been offsides a few times today. Still no score, getting very late in the first half. Crystal Rodriguez made a diving save a few moments ago to keep this game scoreless. It's as close as either team has come to scoring today. Natalie Dybas has not had to make a save yet, despite all the possession time for the University of St. Francis. They just haven't been able to take a shot on goal. They've only got 80 seconds to do so in this goal before the two teams reverse sides for the second half, and it may not happen. See if these teams are both satisfied to go in the half tied 0-0, or if they really put the pressure on late in the half. Here's some pressure from St. Francis. Intercepted, though, and cleared by Alan Gallardo. Haley Bartlaga rolls it to her outside to the right. Carrera right back to Bartlaga. Fighting Saints are running out of time here in the first half. Maybe is their last attack. That shot is wide and grabbed by Daibas. Not a lot on that one from Kelly Flores. She just took whatever she could get there. It turned out not to be much. Here come the Cougars on what is their last chance of this first half. Tangled up at midfield. St. Xavier pushes down into the corner. Rodriguez will let that go out of bounds, and that'll end our first half of play. Tough first half for both of these teams. Not a lot of shots, not a lot of scoring opportunities. The best one of the game came from the Cougars just a few minutes ago. Crystal Rodriguez made a good save. Other than that, the story of the first half was kind of a lack of stories. Not much going on. Good defense has been the key, and both teams' defenses have been excellent so far. We'll see if one of them makes a mistake in the second half, as both of these teams look to get on the board and advance to the semifinal round of the CCAC tournament. Here at halftime in Joliet, our score is St. Francis 0, St. Xavier 0. Back in about 15 minutes, we'll have the second half for you. It's the CCAC Conference Tournament quarterfinals on the USF Sports Network. Halftime in Joliet, just about set for the start of the second half. Terry Bonadonna here once again as St. Francis takes on St. Xavier in the quarterfinals of the CCAC Women's Soccer Tournament. No score so far. Not anything really resembling a goal for most of the first half either. They finally got a close call late in the half when St. Xavier went on a run. Crystal Rodriguez made a diving save and a really nice play, kept her shutout intact. And we do remain scoreless here after 45 minutes of play. Stats from the first half, St. Francis did outshoot St. Xavier 7-2. However, both of St. Xavier's shots were on goal. St. Francis only had one shot on goal. So 2 saves made so far by Crystal Rodriguez, just one by Natalie Dybas. However, I keep shifting the expectations in the stats here. Of the 3 shots on goal, only one of them was legitimate. 2 of them were pretty easy plays for the goalkeepers, balls that just kind of rolled right into their hands. So there's only been 1 serious scoring chance in the game, maybe 2. You can argue that St. Xavier had another one early in the match that they weren't able to get a touch on a ball that went into the box. St. Francis also had one that went into the box, and they weren't able to get a touch on before Natalie Dybas came in and scooped it up. But there's really not that much to report. It has been a defensive struggle, and it's been a lot of fun, really, because both of these defenses came in with the reputation of being very strong, and they have lived up to the billing. 2 of the top defensive teams in the conference coming into play today. St. Francis all season has only allowed 19 goals. Make that 20 goals allowed by the Fighting Saints this year as we are back underway. St. Xavier takes the opening possession here, going left to right. St. Francis now right to left. Down the sideline, Cougars keep it in bounds. Here's Janitis making a nice touch to get around Volant. Janitis makes a push into the box. Janitis tries to set herself up for the shot, and she scores. Less than a minute into the second half, all that talk at halftime about how good the defense has been goes by the wayside. It's 1-0 St. Xavier. Alex Janitis, the freshman from Naperville, scores the first goal of today's game. It is her 7th goal this year. And so now St. Francis has to play catch-up. They get their first touch of the second half. They haven't even had the ball yet this second half, and St. Xavier is already on the board. Janitis made a nice move to get around the defender, and then he had to beat was the goalkeeper. She made a nice shot going across the field. Now a shot from St. Francis, and that's off the post and grabbed by Natalie Dybas. She got to the ball first and made the save, but it squirted through her legs, and if she had been about 6 inches to her right, the ball would have trickled into the net. 1 minute into the second half, we've already seen a couple of shots better than anything we saw in the first half. One that went in for St. Xavier and one that almost did for St. Francis. Very different style of soccer already here in the second half. 1-0 St. Xavier leads. The Saints are trying to answer, but their run is cut short by the sideline. Pelayo was unable to keep up with that ball. Goes out of bounds this time on the Cougars. So the Saints will throw it in on the attacking side of the field. Far end tossed in and pushed right back out of bounds. Same spot. Saints throw it in again. Taken away by Davila. Davila pushes it ahead. St. Xavier trying to add to their lead. They get it into the center of the field. Louisa Schreiber loses it. Schreiber has very seldom been involved in today's match. The junior from Germany is the team's leading goal scorer this year with 9 of them. But we haven't seen much from her at all. It's not just that she hasn't done much with the ball when she's had it, it's that she's almost never had the ball. It was Alex Janitis, the freshman, who broke the scoreless tie. St. Francis beat St. Xavier last month 2-1. Now today they have found themselves in a position where they're looking for a similar score. They'll need at least 2. Remember, this is the conference tournament, so obviously no ties. Somebody has got to advance. So the Saints know right now they need to score at least 2 goals now that St. Xavier's got 1 on the board. Cougars take it away with their defense. That's Hope Lewis turning away from Isabel Diaz. St. Francis is able to play defense off the midfield. Here comes Litzy Mendez. Diaz taps it forward, trying to find Mia Okana. She does. Okana turns and shoots. It's deflected up into the air by Eileen Gallardo. And the whistle blows. Offsides, I think, was called against St. Francis. So that whole sequence is wiped off the board. It's a free kick for St. Xavier. 4 minutes into the second half. A lot of action so far. Cougars scored about 30 seconds into the second half. Mendez heads it across midfield. Diaz passes over to Okana. Long run ahead to Pelayo. Pelayo looking for the cross. Instead, the ball dies as it reaches the goalkeeper, Dybus. Bounced across midfield. Here's Diaz for the Saints. Tries to turn it upfield. Deflected back by Lewis. And now a battle for possession. Won by Neda Ocampo. Ocampo gets it ahead to Schreiber for St. Xavier. Knocked out of bounds by the Fighting Saints. Throwing for Esmeralda Diaz. Diaz drops it where she is. And the throw-in will actually be taken by Jacqueline Gonzalez. Gonzalez's throw along the sideline, headed forward by St. Francis towards the sideline. Gonzalez is able to beat Aguirre to the ball, into the middle. Saints take possession. Saints playing with a little bit more urgency now, trailing by 1 goal. High towards the net. It bounces a couple of times and grabbed by Dybus. Dybus punts it to midfield. Saints try to begin their run, but Lewis is there to take it away. Here's Flores. Flores trying to make something happen. Down the sideline, long run, Alexis Mariquin, and can't quite reach it. She had a good run at that ball, just came up a little bit short as it rolls out of bounds. She would have been in good position potentially for a cross as St. Francis looks to get on the board for the first time if she had controlled it. Now Flores does for St. Francis. Flores dribbles her way into the box, but it's knocked away by the St. Xavier defense. Here come the Cougars. Jonitis passes towards the sideline. Davila makes her run along that line. Here's Schreiber out in front of the box. Tapped off. The shot is saved by Rodriguez. Shot from Ocampo. I mentioned that St. Francis is playing with a little more urgency now. St. Xavier is as well. They're getting much better opportunities here in the second half, including obviously the goal that they've scored, although one feeds into the other. I think if the Saints are opening up the game a little bit, it leaves a few more holes for St. Xavier to set up shots from. And we saw one right there as Schreiber set it up nicely for Ocampo, and Ocampo took a shot from long distance. Rodriguez was able to make the save. Her third today. She hasn't played poorly with the 3 saves, but the 1 goal allowed looms large right now. Pushed into the box, deflected before it gets to Mariquin. Another cross. Mariquin tries to get to this, but it's poked free by St. Xavier. And out along the sideline. That was last touched by Schreiber. In the midfield circle, Saints try to take it away from the Cougars. Pushed to the far sideline. Pelayo is in possession. Pelayo working against Davila, and Davila knocks it free along the sideline. It hugged that line but stayed in bounds. So play continues as the Saints try to resume their attack. Out of bounds, a throw in for St. Francis. Another throw in coming up for the Fighting Saints here. Nope, that one was out on the Saints. So the Cougars get to toss it in here. First home playoff game here for St. Francis in over a decade. They don't want to have to go out on this. Winner of this will face either St. Ambrose or Roosevelt in the next round. The Bees of St. Ambrose had a 1-0 lead at halftime over the Lakers. St. Ambrose is the top seed in the tournament. But locked in a tight one with Roosevelt, just as these two are locked in a tight contest. It was tied at halftime, but St. Xavier leads by 1 now. They scored a goal less than 30 seconds into the second half. Now we're nearly 10 minutes into the half. Still 1-0 St. Xavier. Player down for St. Francis. No whistle, no foul called. Saints are in possession. Here's Mariquin. Tapping it off to Diaz. Diaz keeps it alive with the defender on the ground. And now that defender gets up and gives a shove to Diaz. Ocampo is called for a foul. Diaz got around Ocampo initially. Ocampo hit the ground, was able to pull herself up and get back into the play. But as she did get back into the play, she shoved Diaz from the side. She's called for the foul. Free kick for St. Francis. We haven't seen a ton of fouls called, and certainly not in range like this. This is the first time we've seen a free kick in potential scoring range from either team all game, other than one that occurred down in the corner in the first half. Let's see if Flores tries to put this on goal. She does, and she sends it too high. Be a little wide as well. Didn't miss by a lot, but it is out of bounds for a goal kick. Haley Bartlaga checks in for St. Francis. Citlali Chavez is in for St. Xavier. Andrea Aguirre is the Fighting Saint who sits down. Flores pushes it to the middle of the field off of Haley Bartlaga, who just checked in. Back over to Flores. Flores pushes into the box. It bounces a couple of times towards the back line and out of bounds. .33.5 minutes to play. Second half, 1-0 St. Xavier. Cougars got their goal from Alex Johnaitis, her 7th of the year. And that happened in the first minute of the second half, 46th minute of the contest. St. Xavier trying to get their revenge over St. Francis for a 2-1 loss suffered here back on October 7th. If St. Xavier had won that game, then this one would still be the 4 versus the 5 in the conference tournament, but it would be played on the south side of Chicago at St. Xavier. So that was a big win for St. Francis because it did create this home opportunity for them, but so far that hasn't paid off. Mendez's pass was deflected. Saints keep possession. Flores. Flores works with Claudia Hernandez here. 3 defenders in front of her. Flores pokes it through, and nobody there for the Fighting Saints. Natalie Dybas set to punt it away. Deflected out of bounds by St. Xavier. Flores tosses it in. Bartlaga trying to catch the Cougars off guard a little bit. St. Xavier's defense is able to get back, though. Maybe didn't get back fast enough. It is an offsides call against St. Francis, so it all worked out for the Cougars that their defense was up a little bit. Free kick for the Cougars. Flores ahead to Bartlaga. She cannot control it off the first touch. Taken away by Citlali Chavez. Litzy Mendez turns it upfield. Nice move by Mendez. And she overshoots on the pass. Bartlaga trying to come in late. Sliding. Dybas makes the stop. Bartlaga raced towards that ball. Dybas came in from the net. If she had gotten there a split second later, or if Bartlaga had gotten there a split second earlier, she would have had a clear shot. But Dybas was able to get there first. St. Francis on the run once again. Into the box, deflected away. Bartlaga gets there, needs some help as St. Xavier did get the defense back. There's a shot from Mendez and saved by Dybas right into her chest. So once again, St. Francis turns up the pressure. St. Xavier was ready for it. 15 minutes into the second half. We got a half hour still to play in this game. St. Francis trying to find the comeback trail. Gonzalez knocks it away from Mariquin. Passes down the sideline. And it'll be St. Xavier's ball here on the foul. So a free kick on the sideline. Will be taken by Eileen Gallardo. There's a shot that bounces into the hands of Crystal Rodriguez. An easy save for Rodriguez that time. We've gone back to where we were for most of the first half, which is St. Francis controlling possession lately. St. Xavier had a hot start to the second half, obviously scoring the goal right after the second half whistle. But then they had a few more shots after it as well. Lately it's been St. Francis. The Cougars had a quick possession there that turned into a shot. There's a shot for the Saints and another easy stop for Dybas. The difference between this and the first half is that Saints dominated possession in the first half, but they didn't really get any shots out of it. They only had one shot on goal the entire first 45 minutes. The second half is different. They've been much more aggressive in creating opportunities for themselves, so they're not squandering any of their possessions. Cougars have still been able to come up with stops, but they've been a little bit harder fought as Dybas grabs this one, racing in at the last instant. Down the sideline, knocked off the foot of Kelly Flores and out of bounds. Bartlaga on the sideline, looking for help over the middle. Passes, but it's taken away by St. Xavier and ahead to Johnaitis. Here comes Schreiber. Defenders all around her. Schreiber is forced off the ball. Good challenge by Hernandez and knocked away by Crystal Rodriguez downfield. There's a foul on the Cougars. And the clock stops with 27 minutes, 18 seconds to play. I think we're going to get a yellow card here. Yellow card is given, I believe that's Veronica Davila. So that's our first booking of the game. Veronica Davila given the yellow card. 27-18 to play, 1-0. St. Xavier over St. Francis. And the Saints get a free kick from midfield. They push all but a couple of defenders downfield to help out with the attack. Free kick pushed into the box. Off a brief deflection, it's grabbed on one hop by Natalie Divas. So that goes nowhere for St. Francis. They'll try to start over from back at midfield again. Passed by St. Xavier. Nobody ahead in black. Isabel Diaz pushes down the sideline. Pelayo makes the run into the corner, and she can't get to it. Out of bounds for a St. Xavier throw-in. Cougars try to clear it. Middle of the field. Pushed into the air. And a foul on St. Xavier. So another free kick coming up for the Fighting Saints. This one will be delayed a little bit. Claudia Hernandez was a little bit slow to get up. She took a hard fall. So we got another yellow card given. I didn't see who that was to. I think Louisa Schreiber was given the yellow card. So Schreiber is playing with a yellow now. Veronica Davila picked up the yellow card a minute ago. Minute 15 seconds in game time. So this was not a terribly physical game. Not a ton of fouls called up until this point. But in the last 75 seconds of game action, we've seen 2 yellow cards given to St. Xavier players. This time about 15 yards downfield from where the previous one was. And smack dab in the center. Kelly Flores approaches it. Flores keeps it on the ground, trying to get it to Mendez, but I hope Lewis knocks it clear. Out of bounds on the far sideline. The free kick does not directly lead to a shot for St. Francis. We'll see if they're able to keep this possession alive. And looking to set one up. To the back line. Gallardo lets it roll. Mendez tries to force the issue. Tried to get in there at the last second. And hit it off of Gallardo to create a corner kick, but she does not get the call. Cougars look to clear in the midfield circle. They do get it across halfway. Launched towards the top of the box, and Rodriguez lets it reach her, and she scoops it up. There's a cross intercepted. Chavez turns around, has her pass taken off her foot. Chavez gets it back, though, ahead to Schreiber. Ocampo's pass intercepted by St. Francis. The Fighting Saints from the defensive line move forward. O'Connor tackled off the ball. Here's Johnitis for St. Xavier. Johnitis is the lone goal scorer so far in today's game. Knocked out of bounds, and that's a corner kick. Second corner kick of the game for the Cougars. Got some substitutes coming on. Starters returning to the field. Andrea Aguirre for St. Francis. And Haley Henry for St. Xavier. Henry scored a goal for the Cougars. She scored, in fact, the goal for the Cougars last time these two teams met. It's her only goal this season. Coming in from the backside, the header goes over the net, out of bounds. Good chance for St. Xavier off the corner kick. Out of bounds on the header. It was at the back end of the play, not the initial target, but Esmeralda Diaz came in late and tried to score, but out of bounds. Gave the Fighting Saints a chance to push it downfield. The Cougars get it back, though, on defense, trying to turn that into offense. Good challenge from Pelayo. Cougars still in possession, though. Pelayo challenges again, knocks it away from Davila, and finally the Cougars get it downfield, but across the sideline. It's out of bounds. Saints go back to their bench. Maita Bernal is in. First time we've seen her today. She heads over to the far side of the field, which moves Haley Bartlaga to the near side. Just 22 minutes still to play. St. Francis needs 2 goals. If the game remains tied, or becomes tied, I should say, at the end of regulation, we would head to overtime. There's the ball sent into the box. Bartlaga comes into the backside, takes the shot, and it's over the crossbar, out of bounds. Best scoring chance that St. Francis has had today. They had 3 attackers find their way ahead of the St. Xavier defense. Bartlaga got her foot on it, and she just mistimed the touch. Great chance for the Fighting Saints, and they come up empty. They remain down 1-0. Final 21 minutes of action. And it'll be the final 21 minutes of their season if they're not able to get at least 1 goal on the board. Saints pull it back, not wanting to give up the ball. There's Bartlaga with the pass towards the middle. Saints keep it alive. There's a good through ball. Onsides, Mendez tries to make a run past the goalkeeper, but Dybas dives on top of it. Great through ball and a great run for Litzy Mendez, who just barely did stay onside. And she had just the keeper to beat, but couldn't do it, as the freshman, Natalie Dybas, steps up and makes a huge stop. Saints are putting the pressure on, though. Twice in the last minute plus, they've had great chances. 2 of their best, maybe their 2 best scoring chances all game have come in the last 90 seconds. Here's Schreiber on the sideline, keeps it in bounds. O'Connor trying to get possession away from Jacqueline Gonzalez. Not able to do it. Saints do take possession back, though. Bernal loses it. Knocked away by Gallardo. Off to the sideline, out of bounds. Throw in coming up for the Fighting Saints. Bartlaga's throw in is intercepted by Hope Lewis. Schreiber tries to turn it upfield. She's tackled off the ball. And a foul is called on St. Francis. Claudia Hernandez is given a yellow card. Schreiber slow to get up. She is helped to her feet. So each team has been shown a yellow card now, 2 of them given to St. Xavier players. The first one against St. Francis. Claudia Hernandez, the senior midfielder, will play the final 19 minutes of today's game on a yellow. Free kick right at midfield for St. Xavier. Down the middle of the field, headed back by the Fighting Saints. Saints trying to counter the other direction. Good formation going forward. Off towards the sideline. And out of bounds. Saints keep possession at midfield. Haven't been able to get anything going forward yet. And as they try here, deflected by St. Xavier, 2 Cougar defenders nearly ran into each other there, and that almost gave St. Francis a break. But it was lost out of bounds. Last year, the Fighting Saints fell in the opening round of the CCAC tournament as a road team. Foul called on the Fighting Saints here. They won CCAC tournament game 2 years ago. This is the last time they've won one, and then a few times missed before that. They're trying to make a deep run this year, but obviously it starts with round 1. They would certainly seem to be in position, their best position they've been in a long time, to try to make a deep run of the tournament against their first home conference tournament game in more than a decade. They've been one of the hottest teams in the conference, just 1 loss since September 16th. That's a stretch that has included a 4-match winning streak at one point and an 8-match unbeaten streak at one point. Their only loss during that time was to St. Ambrose, who they would most likely be playing next week if they win this. Foul called on St. Francis again here. Free kick for the Cougars. About 40 yards out. Pretty much dead center. Rolled off to the near sideline. Intercepted by the Saints and knocked out of bounds. Knocked out of bounds by Jacqueline Gonzalez. And that allows Alexis Mariquin to re-enter the game. She's been standing off to the sideline for a while. No stoppages to allow her to come in, though, until now, because it is a St. Francis throw-in. So Mariquin will take the throw-in immediately after entering. Headed back out of bounds by the Cougars. Another throw-in for the Saints. St. Francis keeps it in bounds, but off the second touch, they do lose it along the sideline. So the Cougars get a throw as the substitute comes on. For St. Xavier, it's Fatima Garduza who enters. 15 minutes to play And potentially just 15 minutes left in the Fighting Saints season. They've got to score. Otherwise, they're all done. Cougars have got to be feeling pretty good about where they sit right now, at least in terms of forcing overtime. At this stage of the match, of course, if they were to surrender a goal and even have to go to overtime, that would be close to devastating for them. But one of these teams is going home after today, and Cougars, I'm sure, feel like if it is them, it's not going to be in the next 15 minutes. Saints are in a little bit more of an immediate threat for their season coming to a close. Foul on the Cougars. Ball is set for a free kick just off to the right of the net, 45 yards out for the freshman Kelly Flores. Flores launches it into the box. There's a header in front of the net and wide to the right. O'Connor came in at the end of that play. Zoe Vallant's header was not intended, I don't think, to be a pass. It was intended to be a shot on goal, but it was well wide of the net. O'Connor almost was able to get there and give her team a second chance on that play, but got there just a little bit late. And so it's a goal kick for St. Xavier. Gallardo down in the corner. Turns it up the sideline. And a Jakubiak knocked it loose for St. Francis. St. Xavier got it back. Trying to play a little keep away. They're not able to keep it away. Jakubiak again jumps in front. And it's lost out of bounds off of St. Xavier. Isabel Diaz was not out for very long. She's coming back in now after a rest. Comes in for Andrea Aguirre. Diaz, 5 goals on the season. That number is tied with Litzy Mendez for second most on the squad. So they need whatever goal scorers they can get out there right now. With 12 minutes to go, trailing by 1, St. Xavier makes another run. Knocked loose by St. Francis and grabbed by Crystal Rodriguez. Nice move, turning the corner for Mia O'Connor. O'Connor's got herself freed up. Passed off to the left side. Mendez can't get there. Knocked out of bounds for a corner kick. Nope, offsides is called. Offsides was called, so even if Mendez had been able to get there on time, it would not have counted. Free kick for St. Xavier. Nobody ahead in gold, so that ball will eventually come to a stop, and it'll be a goal kick for St. Xavier. It went right on the corner. So nearly resulted in a throw-in, but it will be a goal kick for the Cougars. It just buys them a little bit of time. They heat up a few seconds on the setup, and just the ball going downfield. There's a few seconds that St. Francis is off the attack. And we're getting close to the time of the game where you really are counting seconds, not minutes. The Saints are really running out of time as we approach the 10-minute mark. Saints from defense. Vallant's kick is intercepted by St. Xavier and out of bounds. After a very brief time on the bench, Claudia Hernandez is back in. Another throw in for the Saints. Mariquin's ball is headed back to Mia Okana. Good move made by Flores, but it's knocked away. And I think they went out of bounds. Did go out, so it's a throw in for the Fighting Saints. Intercepted by Chavez. Flores gets it back for the Saints. Diaz back to Flores, and Flores is offsides. Shot didn't count. Got the crowd on its feet, but Flores' run is halted before it begins on the offsides call. Under 9 minutes to play. St. Xavier scored their goal in the opening minute of the second half before St. Francis even got a touch on the ball. At least a controlled one. 28 seconds in to the second half, it was 1-0 Cougars. The first half was a defensive struggle. Not a lot of chances for either side. Second half has seen St. Francis pile up the chances. They just haven't been able to finish. They're looking for somebody who can now, as they are down to their final 8 minutes and change. Another chance at a run right here. Ahead to Mariquin. Mariquin's got one defender in front of her, tries to pull it out wide. Her cross is deflected out of bounds on the sideline. Throw in for the Fighting Saints. They've lost a little bit of their momentum here as St. Xavier did a good job defensively to knock the ball out of bounds. They still have possession down deep in the corner. But now the St. Xavier defense has been able to get back. We're halted here because Kelly Flores is shaken up. She was out of the play a little bit, doing some stretching to get herself back in. She does stay in the game. Clock stops at 7:56. And when we're ready to continue, the Saints will get a throw in. It's Mariquin. Tossing into Mendez. Mendez works it back outside to Mariquin, who lofts it out of bounds. Towards the net, but was way off the mark. Nada Ocampo is back in for St. Xavier. Citlali Chavez checks out. Clock continues to run. Mendez puts herself in good position. Big kick down the sideline. Looking for the cross, knocked away by St. Xavier. It's been a long time since the Cougars have made a run of their own. They have played very defensively ever since scoring, and it's worked out for them. Fighting Saints have a lot of opportunities here in the second half. None of them have been able to be cashed in. Passed off to Mariquin. Mariquin makes the run around the defender to the back line and out of bounds. Jacqueline Gonzalez got in her way. Mariquin made a move to get around Gonzalez, but in doing so, she lost control of the ball. So it's a goal kick for St. Xavier. Eshel Palayo is back in for the Fighting Saints. Esmeralda Diaz. Does that ball go over her head? Headed by Valant down to the corner and out of bounds. Goal kick. Under 6 minutes to play. Been a great recovery this season for St. Francis after a rough start in non-conference play. They did not have a win over their first 9 matches, and then over their last 9 matches, they had just 1 loss. Over the last 10 matches, they had just 1 loss. Those streaks do intersect in a few places, a couple of draws. Mariquin hits it into the box, headed into the air, loose in front of the net, deflected back towards the goal, and a diving stop made by Daibas. Saints didn't get their first victory of the year until their last game in September. At one point, they were 0-5-2, and they went on a stretch in which they had been shut out in 3 consecutive games. For a long time this year, the question was, where would this team find their goals from? Would they ever be able to find them? Well, after getting shut out in 3 consecutive games 4 times in their first 8 games of the year, they have only been shut out once since September 16th. Today would be the second, but they've still got 4 minutes to turn that around. Dribbled down into the corner. Saints make a run into the box. Knocked away by Lewis, out of bounds. It's a St. Francis throw-in on the far side. Tossed in and cleared by St. Xavier. Claudia Hernandez got that off the side of her head, couldn't control it cleanly. Cougars make a counter run, and they're definitely late enough in the game right now where even making a run deep into the attacking third of the field, which they weren't quite able to make it to here, but if they can, they're able to eat up 20 to 30 seconds right there, even if they don't get any shots out of it. St. Xavier doesn't need to score right now. They just need to defend for 3 more minutes. Cougars are still in possession. Now they do get into the attacking third. Nobody up for St. Xavier right now. Again, just playing defense. Crystal Rodriguez quickly gets rid of it, punting it across midfield. Ball loose, rolling back towards the corner. Long run for both sides. St. Francis gets there first. Saints looking for a cross. To the back line and out of bounds. Goal kick for St. Xavier. The Cougars are in the midst of a 5-match unbeaten streak. They've drawn ties in each of their last 2 games. They haven't won since October 21st at Indiana South Bend, but trying to pick up the victory here, make it a 6-match unbeaten streak and advance to the semifinals, where they would likely take on St. Ambrose. St. Ambrose was up 2-0 at last check in their match today. Under 2 minutes to play. St. Xavier is taking its time, not allowing St. Francis many opportunities. The Saints have been on the attack for the last half hour or so, but over the last 2 minutes, they've struggled to get anything going forward. St. Xavier has halted them. Headed out of bounds. Throw in for the Saints. Mariquin looking for Okana. Jacqueline Gonzalez knocks it loose. Hasn't been able to clear it yet. Now it is knocked towards the sideline, and a foul called on the Saints. And the Cougars have no reason to hurry on these free kicks. They're going to run it down to probably under a minute before St. Francis is able to take possession again. Down the sideline, so just over a minute as the Saints throw it back in. Headed out. Saints will do it again. Mariquin looking for help. Rolled back and taken away by Diaz. Here's Mariquin on the sideline. Headed into the middle of the field. Diaz trying to get positioning. Lewis knocks it away from Diaz. Cleared by St. Xavier. 40 seconds on the clock. Time for one last run for St. Francis. There's the cross right in front of the net. On the backside, a shot. Wide to the left, still in play, and knocked out of bounds by St. Xavier. Saints will throw it in again. Diaz has it taken away from her. Here's Jakubiak stepping up, taking the shot. That's out of bounds, and that should do it. The shot from Jakubiak sails over the net. A last-ditch effort from the Fighting Saints. This one comes to an end on the goal kick from St. Xavier, and the Cougars are on to the next round with a 1-0 win over St. Francis. They scored their goal in the opening minute of the second half after a great defensive struggle for 45 minutes. The Cougars took the opening kick out of halftime, took it down the field, and turned it into a goal as Alex Janitis got around a couple of defenders, made a nice individual run, and was able to roll it past Crystal Rodriguez and put her team ahead 1-0. And that remained the score for the next 45 minutes, and that's where we sit right now. 1-0 our final score. St. Xavier defeats St. Francis. The Fighting Saints got the 4 seed in the conference tournament after a great recovery from a slow start to this season. They finished so strong. Just 1 loss in their final 10 regular season matches. But they fall today, 1-0 the final score against St. Xavier. And their season comes to a close with a final record of 6-7-5. St. Xavier plays on as they pick up their 8th victory of the season. 8-3-5 is their record this year. They will be headed out to Davenport, Iowa on Tuesday to take on St. Ambrose in the semifinals of the CCAC tournament. Championship match will be played 1 week from today. Saints had a number of opportunities in the second half, just couldn't quite make them pay off. And so in a tough loss to St. Xavier, their season closes out with a final score of 1-0. That'll do it for today's broadcast. Thanks for tuning in today and throughout the St. Francis women's soccer season. They'll be back at it in the fall, trying to use the end of this season as a motivator because they really came on strong late this year and a lot to build on going into the 2024 campaign. Again, our final score, St. Xavier 1, St. Francis 0. St. Xavier advances to the CCAC semifinals next week. Until next time, Terry Bonadonna here signing off for the University of St. Francis from Joliet, Illinois. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good Friday night.